Welcome to Beyond the Label, a raw, real-life look at living with disabilities, presented by Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. CenturyMartialArts.com for everything that is martial arts.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beyond the Label. I'm JD.
I'm Charlie Murphy.
And we are joined tonight by Nelson Diaz. Nelson Diaz is the founder of TeamBelieve923. Thanks for being with us here, Nelson. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
No complaints. One deep breath at a time. Just staying busy with life, staying positive, and hopefully impacting lives for the better. That's the goal.
There you go.
That's right. Nelson is a good friend of mine, Charlie. Nelson and I and the whole TeamBelieve team did a Spartan a couple of years ago on Killington. And I know what you're thinking, so you might as well just tell everybody.
How the heck are you going to go up Killington, Jason?
Well, we're going to tell you how we did it. It might have not been pretty, but it sure was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of hard work, and it took about 10 hours, but we did it. So I guess we did. I guess first, Nelson, we probably should talk about TeamBelieve923 and how did that all come about, because I don't even know that part of the story. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about TeamBelieve923.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Nelson Runaway Diaz, founder of TeamBelieve923, we kind of just stumbled onto this idea that if we're going to put our bodies through some pretty horrible situations, it better benefit somebody. And it started in 2011. We heard about Tough Mudder, and it just sounded crazy. You know, you have obstacles, you're getting electrocuted, this, that, the other. So I told my buddy, Brian, yeah, sign me up. Let's do it, together. And as I researched it, I was like, this is something good to do with my son. It'd be a nice father-son bonding thing. And then I kept digging in deeper and started finding out about the electrocution obstacles and all this pain that awaited. And that's when I said, well, if we're gonna do this, somebody has to, benefit from our torture. And so we started using that vehicle as a fundraiser. We started with Eric LeGrand, the paralyzed Rutgers football player, who's also from the town that we live in. And we watched him, playing football throughout his younger years and stuff. So it was like, let's see how we can help the family out. We did that for a number of years. And then a gentleman named Chris Massey reached out to us from Massachusetts. And he says, hey, I got a buddy named Tim. And he became a certified strength and conditioning coach after his rollover accident, which rendered him paralyzed from the chest down. And we think he'd be able to do one of these races with your team's assistance. And we were clueless. We're good at raising funds and having fun while doing it, but to help an adaptive athlete journey through a race was something brand new to us. Tim trained us up. He became our very first adaptive teammate. He showed us how to work with athletes who suffer spinal cord injuries, and the rest is history. I mean, Tim is just a beast. Wheelbarrows, entire Spartan sprint supers and beasts while we support his hips and his legs, and he's taught us a number of ways to help adaptives over, under, and through obstacles. And number of years later go by, and here comes Jason with his request to join the team to conquer Killington.
So Nelson, just before we get into my story a little bit, tell our listeners what the difference between the sprint and the beast and the so on and so on. Tell them the difference.
Yeah, so Spartan is known. First of all, Spartan is the global amazing company that leads the charge when it comes to OCR. They're known primarily for 3 distances. The sprint is now essentially a 5K with 20 obstacles. The super is a 10K with, I think, 30 obstacles. And then I got it mixed up, I think 25 obstacles. The beast is essentially a half marathon with 30 obstacles. And then you go on and you have the ultra, which is 30 miles plus, if you're lucky, and 60 or so obstacles.
Yeah, that's the one that Charlie wants to sign up for. The last one.
Charlie, have I got good news for you? September 11th, 2021, Killington, Vermont, the Ultra. Safe to say you're doing it with me?
Oh, I think I've got surgery scheduled. Oh no, wait, that'll be after that.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so Nelson, I guess we tell my part of the story now. And so my part of the story, somehow this guy is always involved in most of the parts of my story. He's an instigator.
I'm a motivator. I got a
Instigator.
different way of motivating people. It's by instigation.
So
Tell you can't do something, or how the heck are you going to do something? That's
So-
my way. That's what I do.
so that's how all this martial arts stuff started. In case you don't know that, Nelson, that's how it all got started for me, and from that was born this organization, and now we're doing great things. So now you're meeting the man that was responsible, for it through his instigation. I mean motivation.
Everybody
And,
needs somebody like Charlie in their life. That's just the truth.
Yeah, that's word. Hey, you got it.
And so, well,
But
it's
only
not-
one. If you have two Charlies in your life, that's a problem, or can be.
Well, I actually have three. So there's my dad, my brother, and this guy. But anyway, so my brother actually, round about the time, let's back up a little bit. So basically, I was doing martial arts for a while. My instructor and myself kind of parted ways, and so I was in search of a new instructor. But I was eating like I was still doing martial arts, right? And so my brother's like, "Hey, fat boy, you probably should hit the gym." He said, he goes, "You're looking a little pudgy around the middle," and I said, "Yeah, well, okay." He said, "I'm working with a trainer." He said, "And I think he'd be good for you." And so I started working with the trainer, and my brother was like, with his niece, was going to do a Spartan. And I'm like, "Well, man, if you're going to do one, I'm going to do one too." And so he went and did it the first year, and we went up and watched. And I said, "I really, really want to do this with you." And he said, "I understand." He said, and you're probably in good physical enough condition to do it. He said, "But that course is dangerous." He said, I can't, we can't do this together alone. It's too dangerous." And so basically, I'm there at the Spartan watching him, and they have some product reps there, different product reps, and I guess all of us guys with CP and crutches all kind of look the same. And so the rep says to me, he says, "Hey, didn't you do this Spartan like last year or something?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Aren't you so and so?" And I said, "No." I said, but I'd like to do the Spartan next year." He said, "I want to do it with my brother." And I said, "But my brother said, it's too dangerous." He goes, "Well, I know the team that you need to get connected up with." And he said, "Get a hold of Nelson Diaz," he said, and TeamBelieve923, and we can make it happen. And so I said to my trainer, I said, "This is the goal. So this is what I want to do." Nelson says he'll help me. But there's a process with helping folks, isn't there, Nelson? That you guys kind of like
Absolutely.
put people through, and I'll let you tell them about the process.
Yeah, well, first of all, just for clarification, Team Believe, we're not a structured organization. There's a value to being a 501c3, and we recognize that, but we're just a group of folks who put our compassion in action. That's the way we view ourselves. Team Believe 923 is compassion in action. We put our bodies on the line to help other people reach, and check off some bucket list items like Spartan races. I say that because not everyone's for Team Believe, and Team Believe's not for everyone. Our philosophy is we're here to fill in the blanks. If you absolutely need legs for something and you don't have them, or they're not functioning in a way that you can conquer whatever that thing is, and we are your legs. We'll find a different way to get around it, or we are your legs. If you need arms, we'll find a different way for you to get around that challenge, or we are your arms. But there is absolutely zero chance that that any of our teammates go and do an event where we are doing more than we need to. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about when we first started talking about, well, hey, I need to meet you because we have things we have to do. I need to make sure you understand your reality as we get ready to take on this monster of a mountain, which Charlie's going to be joining me on September 11th.
Yeah, and so I had to send. Nelson was asking some questions. What are you doing for a workout? What do you what do you this? What do you that? And I was like, well, I can do a mile on pavement in like 45 minutes, and he was like, no, he's like, I'm talking about what are you doing? And so he goes, I need the name of your trainer. He goes, I need to talk to him. And so they talked, and so they said to me, Charlie, they said, well, you're gonna have to do another event besides Killington. That's the toughest one on the circuit, and we need to just make sure before you do Killington that you can handle something not easier, but with a little less like Killington is pretty brutal. You'll find out September 11th. But it's
Yes,
pretty
you
brutal,
will.
and so I basically said to Nelson, I'm like, oh man, that's great, but my schedule is pretty full. I don't think I can make any other event before that. And he's like, dude, we got to see what you're made of. He was like, you got to do something. And so, Joe's farm is actually here in Vermont. And he goes, I'm going to be up at Joe's farm. And I think, what was the event you were up there for?
It was the Peak Races Blood Route Ultra. It's a weekend of just trails in the mountains of Vermont. Pretty amazing event. Check it out. Peak Races on social media, peakraces.com. But yeah, so there was already a multi-day event going on Joe's property. Joe DeSena is the founder of Spartan Race, and this is right on his property. So timing was perfect. Invited Jason out. He came out, and I think he had a pretty good time on Joe's Mountain.
I did. It was a lot of fun, and my buddy Robin Crossman, who's actually our family vet, is very heavily involved in Spartan. So I told him what I want to do, and he said, I said, do you think I can do? He goes, Jay, you can do. Like I've known you forever. You do whatever you want to do. He's like, of course you can do it. He goes, it's going to be tough, but you can do it. And so he happened to be. Was he race director that weekend, or he was there anyway?
No, not for that. Yeah, I believe he actually came out for you.
Okay.
I don't think he was a part of the Peak Races Blood Route Ultra. Don't quote me on that, but I think he came out because you were coming out.
But anyway, so we're up there, and I'm like, I'm ready to go, and I bring Katie with me, and she's like, okay, I knew it was kind of like the audition. What do we got to do? Where are we going? What are we doing? I'm ready. And Nelson said, see that over there? He said, you're gonna go all the way up in those hills. You're gonna come back down, and if you're still feeling good, he says, then maybe I might let you skip a secondary event. And I said, sure. And the rest was history. I don't know, Charlie, should we take a little break and then tell them how it all shook out for me?
Go ahead, take it away, Charlie.
All right, you're listening to Beyond the Label. It's a raw, real life look at living with disabilities. Jason Davis here, our host, has cerebral palsy. He's been dealing with that since he was born, and just getting things done and just getting them done differently. That's what it's all about. Our sponsor, I want to thank them, sponsored by Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. A quick break. We'll be back here in mere moments with Nelson Runaway Diaz on Beyond the Label.
Beyond the Label, presented by Century Martial Arts for everything that is martial arts. It's no secret, every martial artist, no matter their age, dreams of becoming a legend. A legend. Having their name listed among the greats like Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, and Jackie Chan. You can hide it or deny it, but you know it's true. Being a legend takes raw talent, dedication, big breaks, and an ability to survive a roller coaster called fame. But it also takes one more thing to go with it. The best gear and equipment in the world. From the company that is martial arts, Century Martial Arts. They aren't just another martial arts supplier that's never set foot on a mat. They are martial artists, and that means they know their products and use what they sell. From uniforms and training gear to weapons and equipment, Century has it all for every martial arts style. Although you may never be listed among the greats, you can still shop like one at CenturyMartialArts.com and unleash your legend within. Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. You're listening to Beyond the Label, a raw, real-life look at living with disabilities, presented by Century Martial Arts. Check them out at CenturyMartialArts.com.
We are back on Beyond the Label. I'm Charlie Murphy.
And I'm JD.
And we're here with Nelson Runaway Diaz, the founder of TeamBelieve923. Now, 923, TeamBelieve is a volunteer organization that supports people with disabilities compete in obstacle course races. It sounds, it's tough enough to do these things without a disability, and I've never had any interest whatsoever in doing one just because I think it's outside my wheelhouse.
You haven't lived.
It just scares the heck out of me. I don't like hiking. I want to go and I want to sit down. I want to find a shady tree. I want to throw a line out. I want to go fishing. That's my kind of thing. Hiking, maybe because I have flatter feet or something. I don't know what it is. I'm not a hiker. So this is like extreme hiking is what these Spartan races are. And
they have quite a bit of challenging hiking, but my perspective is this, and this is what I'll share with you, Charlie, because buddy of mine, Yancey, owner of Yancey Camp, very well-known trainer in the OCR world and beyond. He always says we're not doing exercise, we're training for life. So my question to you, Charlie, is if you had to rescue a family member, the only way to rescue them was to climb up that mountain to do that hike, would you?
No, without a question.
Well, you'd attempt it, but if you're not preparing for it, you probably wouldn't accomplish it. So I would encourage you to train for life. Does not matter what size, shape, color, height, weight you are. What matters is that you practice grit, you practice endurance, practice resilience, practice compassion, practice generosity, and stop practicing excuses.
Nice. Nicely said. Now, Jason, you went up the course there several years ago, and you said you were over at, what is it, Joe's Mountain? Is that what you called it?
That's what we called it, Joe's Mountain on Joe's farm.
Okay, and Joe is who exactly?
Joe is the founder of Spartan, so he's the creator of all this madness. And if you meet Joe, he's a no nonsense, straight on kind of guy. And that's just what his races are like too. No nonsense, straight on. If you say you're going to do it, you better buckle up and hang on, because it's going to be kind of a bumpy ride. And if it's not, then something's the matter with your head.
So now these Spartan races, they take place all over the country. Are they all called Spartan?
All over the world, actually. So one of the brands under Spartan is Spartan Race, but also Tough Mudder, and they both have their places in this world. We started on TeamBelieve923 started on the Tough Mudder side. More teamwork, camaraderie. That's the foundation of that. It's a great time. I highly recommend it. Whole lot of mud. No matter what part of the country or world it's in, they find mud, they make mud, they import mud. You will come out like a hot mess, and that's part of the fun, to be honest with you. And then on the Spartan side, it's just known for, it's a little bit more competitive, more on the edge. and definitely designed to give you a kick in the teeth every time out. You know, anytime you do a Spartan race and you walk out of there, if you ever walk out of there saying that, been there, done that, that wasn't hard enough, that just means you really haven't given it your all, because there's always the next level. It could be the same mountain, same obstacle, same sequence, although it never is, but let's say it's completely identical one year to the next. And if you find it challenging your first year, it's because it's a rude awakening, kick in the teeth. If the second year you're coasting through, that means you may have done some training, but regardless, you're not pushing hard enough, because if you were pushing harder, you'd be finishing probably more exhausted than when you first attempted it the year before. So kick in the teeth at all times, all around the world. That's Spartan Race.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we were talking about my experience before the break, and my introduction to TeamBelieve923 in Nelson. I got got in contact with Nelson. He basically said, "Come on up to Joe's farm and give me a little bit of an audition." We looked at Joe's mountain, and he said, "Go up there and come back. If you can do this 100% yourself, and you come back and you're still standing and feeling good, we'll talk about letting you skip a secondary race to go right to Killington, because Killington is the toughest course on the circuit." And so we went up and we did that. And Katie, my wife, who you've worked with, Charlie, was along for the ride, as she always is. I get her into a lot of stuff by virtue of, "Hey, I just signed up for this. That means we're gonna do it together." And she's like, what are you talking about?" And it's no secret. She'll tell you straight up, like, gym class and physical fitness is not her bag, right? And so I knew I was there for an audition so that I didn't have to do a secondary race, because I wanted to do the biggest, the baddest, the toughest with my brother that fall, and I didn't have time to mess around with anything else. And so I knew what I had to do, and we're going up Joe's Mountain, and it starts out a little easy, and then it gets a little tougher, and there's some slippery rocks, and I'm like, "Here, take the crutches." And she's like, "Here, let's just turn around." And I'm like, "No, keep going." And she's like, "This is crazy. You're going to get hurt." And so there's a race going on all around us, because they had another competition up there, and people are passing us by, and some are looking at us like, "Why is this guy on all fours crawling up a mountain?" She's got my crutches. They didn't see it, and she's like, "Come on."
You fit right in, because a majority of the guys going up and down that mountain on any other weekend are death racers, guys who show up with fully functioning bodies, limbs, minds, and equipment. And as one of them, a couple of days into the death race, we're all crawling on our fours. Everything's broke. And not all of us, especially me, finish those 3 to 5 day long events. So to some, you're probably like, "Oh, that's probably a death racer doing something, doing life a little differently the way those death racers do."
So you're saying I was a poser then?
Not at all. I'm saying you were preparing for death race and they just didn't know it. So after Charlie conquers Killington on September 11th, we're working on Jason at next year's death race.
There you go. So anyway, so Katie is like, "Turn back," and so by then, Charlie will tell you, when I get something in my head, it's in my head, and I'm going all the way. And so we're starting to like have this argument like on the trail, and I'm like, "You know what?" I was like, "You can do anything you want." I was like, "You can turn back now." I was like, "But I'm gonna keep going." "Well, that's funny," she says, "because I got your crutches." I said, "I don't need those things." And so
that's a match made in heaven, you guys.
we settled our differences and continued on, and we came back down, and Nelson said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think I'm ready to go." He goes, You don't look so bad." He goes, "Maybe you'll be okay. But I'd still like you to try a secondary race." I'm like, "Man, my schedule is just jam-packed. Can't do it." He goes, "Okay, suit yourself." And so from that time, it was even heavier training. It was Nelson checking in, What's your diet like? What are you doing? It was really, that's the cool thing about TeamBelieve is like the minute they agree to help you, they're with you from training to the day of to the day after and long after that. And like Nelson said, it's all just a group of volunteers, and we all still stay in contact. And that day on the mountain on Killington was a day that I'll never forget. And it was a chance for me, and I've told you this before, Charlie. There are very few things, as much as I don't let the disability get me down, there are very few times where I can sort of disconnect from the disability and just be like everybody else. And one of those times is when I'm in martial arts class. The other time is when I'm lifting weights or working with my personal trainer. And the other time is when I'm on the hill with these guys and TeamBelieve, doing it just like everybody else. We may be doing it different, but at the end of the day, we're all doing it together. And that's what I remember. And to have that,
and everyone's learning too. I mean, we're learning from you. I mean, you're conquering obstacles in a different way. And we may find ourselves in a position in life somewhere down the line where we need to conquer an obstacle and say, well, crap, we've seen how Jason did this. This is now it's our turn to go about it the way we learned from Jason. So there's always a whole lot of learning going on if you're up for that kind of stuff, learning.
Now, Jason kind of happened upon you and hooked up with you to get him through this. Now, how do other folks who want to try and accomplish or tackle one of these things, how do they go about getting a hold of you?
Yeah, social media is the best way. At TeamBelieve923 on Instagram and Facebook, and we have our teammates. We don't call our teammates volunteers. We call them teammates because that's exactly what it takes to pull something like this off. As a matter of fact, last weekend we were in Palmerton. We had two teammates, wheelchair bound, different levels of cerebral palsy. One drove in from Texas. The other one flew in from Florida. And, we were on Palmerton. In Palmerton, Pennsylvania, for those who don't know, that's like the Blue Mountains are the perfect setting for training, for Killington training. So, you kind of go from the Palmerton super and you're pretty prepared for Killington. So needless to say, it's a butt whooping. And what we love to do, because TeamBelieve, we're really a core of maybe 6 true every event. Those 6 are there. And everyone else, dozens of people, are just people like they just one-off teammates because they just happen to be at that race, at that event. They see us, they want to be a part of it. Some people are able to join us on a journey from start line to finish line and really see the whole process that it is for the athletes, for the TeamBelieve teammates, and what it takes to pull this off. And others, they're just doing their own thing and they stumble upon us and they're like, what's going on? This is different. And they ask, hey, how can I help? And they'll stick with us maybe for an obstacle or maybe to help us get down some challenging terrain. Like in Palmerton, we had essentially about 12 or 15 people that as they came upon us, they're like, can we jump in and help? Just because they saw that something amazing was happening. People who would otherwise you would not find in a race on a mountain were actually in a race on a mountain getting it done in their wheelchairs with the rest of the team. So they formed a human ladder so we could hold on to their arms going down this very steep, muddy descent, this section of Palmerton. And then after that, we thanked them. We told them, hey, go kick butt. You're here for your own goals. We got this. And, and the stories of people, still lives on social media. Oh yeah, I was with them for 5 minutes. I was with them at this obstacle, and everyone's inspired. Everyone's motivated. I can't remember why I started to go down that rant right there, but it was a really good time in Palmerton. And if you do stumble upon us anywhere else in the country, feel free to jump on in because teammates is what we look for. Others to join the adventure and for us to continue learning from each other. Compassion in action. Bottom line.
So Nelson, there are a lot of folks out there right now that are probably a little apprehensive about taking the jump for safety reasons. They figure, I already have enough trouble as it is, etc., etc. I can tell you firsthand that there's no better team to be with than Team Believe 923. You guys are safety first. You really look into the athlete ahead of time. You have some specialized wheelchairs and other equipment. So if you can just kind of tell the folks a little bit about that, that may be apprehensive out there, about some of the safety measures that you do, put into place.
Yeah, the first thing is, maybe an obstacle course race is not your thing, and that's fine. But what is your thing? What is your passion? What is that thing you want to check off your list? Is it just a 5K on the street, regular flat race? Give us a shout. We'll get you through. If it's an Ironman, we got teammates that swim, bike, run, and would love to be part of that journey with you. The one thing that's required is for you to, as an adaptive teammate, to train yourself up and to be blatantly honest with yourself where you're at and how much work you need to do to get to where we need you to be in order for this to be a safe adventure, right? We don't want no liabilities, obviously not on your part, not on ours. One thing that I'm always asking, and Jason can confirm, is, all right, well, what are your challenges and what's your medication? We need to know. I take joy knowing that I have documentation that I could present to the medical team at these events saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is our teammate. If we have any challenges, here's a head start on where we could use your help, medic team. So whatever your thing is, the bottom line is surround yourself with people that are going to help you get there. And it might not be TeamBelieve 923. We just may not be available, may not be something you're interested in. We might be on the wrong side of the planet for us to partner up with you. But there are compassionate people out there who would love nothing more than to see you complete, conquer, achieve your God-given potential. Join you on the journey so they can inspire while being inspired. So I was reading this post of Lee, one of our teammates this weekend, and on his post, he was talking, if I could paraphrase a little bit, about how, this is a cruel world. It can be, but there's a lot of good people out there. You just got to find them. You just got to find them and surround yourself with them and conquer life. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to conquer. So conquer, inspire, and don't give up. But we're here for you. TeamBelieve 923 on Instagram and Facebook. Best way, DM us.
The other cool thing about the Team Believe and the setup of the team, it was like you guys knew that it was important for me to do this with my brother. You knew that I had a close friendship with Robin. You knew that the trainer put a lot of time into me, and you also knew that Katie stood behind me 110% in this, and you said, who do you want on your team with you? And I said, do you have the room? And you said, yeah, I have the room. This is what we do. And so for me, that experience, that was the first time as somebody with a disability that my brother and I could actually compete. I mean, we were competing with each other like, oh, okay, you're going to try this obstacle, old man? Okay, well, I'm going to do it better. So we had a chance to compete together, but actually be together in the same event, because all through my life up until that point, I was like, I could do it somewhat or a little bit, certain things, but this was something that we could do 100% together. And so that was what was cool. And a little story about Katie you wanted me to touch on. We talked about in the break. You said, make sure you talk about this when you come back. Well, I told you before that, Katie was no gym class hero. Let's put it that way. And so I said, I want to document this journey. And Nelson's like, oh, this is a great idea. And et cetera, et cetera. And so Nelson, you tell them how you set Katie up. I don't even want to, I just want to hear this story.
I can't remember. All I know is that she wanted the document, which was great. And I think what really set this story up was more of her expectation than anything I did. I think she expected a media pass. I think she expected a certain view of the obstacles of your journey, where she could document, and it ended up being she got the best seat in the house because she had to do the whole event with you essentially. So she completed the sprint minus some obstacles, but she was with you every step of the way. That's as far as my memory serves me, and right now. But
that's how
very
it went.
impressive.
That's how it went, man. She was set for the the cushy golf cart ride and the
Where's my
that
media
type of a thing.
pass? Where do I pick up my media pass? Yeah,
Well, the funny
you
thing
pick
is
it up on the top of that mountain.
the funny thing was she went to the media tent and they said, "We don't have you here." And she said, "Well, Nelson said it was going to be here." So she went over to Nelson and he said, "Yeah, I got your media pass. It's up there." And she said, "What?" And now, mind you, like she was not trained up at all for this, like zero trained up. And so for that, I got to give her credit because that's a more impressive story than the story that I put forth. And
Yeah, where's Katie? We should be interviewing her. I can't believe Charlie. Why are we talking to Jason? We should be talking to Katie.
Yeah, really, she's the real athlete in the family, obviously.
So
she not only conquered Killington without practicing, she has to put up with Jason every day. I mean, she's the hero here.
Yeah, she is the hero.
That's right. So as far as I just want to, before we wrap up here, Nelson, I just want to let the listeners out there kind of know, how the journey went and how the course was and sort of what we actually went through so that they get an idea for what it's going to look like if TeamBelieve helps them out. And I think the first place I want to start is to let you know that TeamBelieve is there to safely assist you. And that is exactly what they do. They safely assist you. So anybody that tells you that they're doing it for you or you're not doing the best you can doesn't even know what they're talking about, because they are there to assist you and push you. And that is what you did for me on the mountain, because there are times on the mountain where I'm like, I don't think I can go anymore. I'm like, I'm spent. I mean, we were up there for a long time, and there were some sections of that mountain that if we didn't have the team and the techniques that you guys use, we probably, well, we would have made it through, but it probably wouldn't have been as pretty as it was. So just if you can kind of tell them, a little bit of the techniques that you use, what it is sort of like.
Well, for you, it was different because I believe we came prepared with wheelchair and all that stuff. That way we, help you navigate through, certain challenging areas. But your goal was to do as much of it on your own 2 feet, crawling if you have to. That was your goal, and that's actually what you did. I'll never forget. We finally got to the top of, I don't know, the second or third climb. I have no idea. I mean, it's treacherous terrain. You're going through a lot. You're sweating all over the place. You like you described yourself, you were spent at certain times. We're at the top of this thing, and you lay down on your belly, and you are literally crawling. You're reaching for the ground. You're digging your fingers in the grass and the dirt, and you're pulling yourself a couple of inches at a time. And you grab again, and you're literally dragging your body. That was a very telling moment from my perspective of your fight, of your grit, of your determination. It was really inspiring. How many times when I just recall my life, how many times do I get to the point where I can't run, jog, walk, and I stop? Meanwhile, you got to a point where you can't run, jog, walk, or even crawl. You are clawing at the earth on your belly, flat, straight out flat. You're clawing at the earth, and you're heaving yourself forward a couple of inches at a time. I don't know how exhausting that was on your upper body, your shoulders, forearms, fingertips. All I know is that you went probably probably maybe half of a football field distance, just clawing at the earth and getting yourself closer to the end zone. That was so inspirational for me, as well as the team watching you. So kudos to you, man, for honoring your own effort, your words, and creating your story. It's not TeamBelieve pushed you through. It's TeamBelieve was alongside of you while you were and watching you while you were clawing at the earth, putting up your fight. You know, was amazing. Can't wait to see you do it again. Charlie might be doing that same technique September 11th at Killington.
Oh wait, hang on a second. I think I got a phone call.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, September 11th. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make that.
We'll try next year.
Right on. Hey, we're here with.
As far as
Runaway
you were asking about techniques, you know, different techniques. I mean, it really depends on the athlete's ability and condition, real time. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of techniques. We do have, you know, chairs with the off-road tires, and obviously, you know, safety harnesses, and you know, we travel with some rope and lanyards and carabiners. We don't attach anything to the structures, to the obstacles, because then that becomes a safety issue for, you know, for other participants, as well as we may compromise the integrity of the obstacle. So we don't do any of that. Everything is 100% with our bodies and whatever tools we need to, but not touching any obstacles. You know, we honestly did not need to do much modifying with you, Jason. You fought through this thing, and yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't pretty at times, but it was inspirational at all times. So thank you for trusting us. Thank you for joining us as a teammate on that journey, and look forward to the next adventure.
Absolutely, man. I remember, and I have to tell this on the podcast. I remember coming over the last obstacle, and they were ready to turn out the lights, man. And we're just like, don't turn out the lights. We're on the way. And along the trail that day, somebody played Eye of the Tiger for me just to give me some inspiration. And I hit the cargo net, and Eye of the Tiger hit, and I was spent. Like, you don't understand when you're doing one of these things, you begin to not know what you're doing. Your body doesn't do what you want it to. I was having some nerve issues with one of my hands, and I'm just reaching the cargo net, and I said, oops, the one thing I forgot to tell Nelson is I'm afraid of heights. And I said, Nelson, he's like, what? He said, I'm afraid of heights. He goes, too late to turn back now. Just keep going. I'm not going to let you fall. And I said, I don't know if I can. And on my shorts, I had a saying, and this is the saying that I always live by: no can't, no quit, no excuses. And so they're playing Eye of the Tiger. Everybody's cheering. Katie's Facebook Live in it, right? And it's blowing up. And I'm like, man, I think I got to bail out. And he goes, no, you don't. Keep going. We didn't spend 10 hours on this mountain for you to quit now. And we went up over the cargo net. And that transition up over, it took probably 4 to 6 guys to get me up over it. Not because I couldn't physically do it, but because I was just locked up with fear at the top of this cargo net. And they just pulled me down over, and then we crossed the fire together. Robin was on one side and Nelson was on the other, and we jumped the fire, and it was over. So it was a tough experience, but it's an experience that I would invite anybody to try once. You know, it's like you say, Charlie, I'll try anything stupid once. This isn't stupid, and it's definitely something that you'll want to try once, and then once you do it once, you'll want to do it again and again and again and again. And Nelson, I think Spartan's got some new opportunities for some individuals. Am I correct in that? Some indoor opportunities, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. Well, there's a Spartan Deca, brand new product, functional fitness, a great way to really see where you stack up the global standard against the global standard. We're looking into doing some modifications for different types of adaptive athletes. So stay tuned for some of that. Definitely want to bring you out for that. And you know what? As I'm hearing you talk and the way we started this interview, we started talking about the type of people you surround yourself with. And you got Charlie and you got the missus. You got me barking in your ear from this direction. And, you know, and Robin, that's an amazing human right there. I mean, I don't know if you remember, he did the entire thing barefoot because Killington's just not enough of a challenge for him. So do you remember how he did the entire obstacles and all barefoot? So he's a special kind of guy, special kind of crazy. So everyone needs a few Robins in your life, a few Charlies in your life. So find them.
Absolutely. And not only did Robin do it barefoot, but he carried the wheelchair over his head because you guys had a bet going on. Remember that?
I can't remember the bet. I remember the wheelchair, and I remember busting his chops because during Death Race, whenever we would fail a certain thing or whenever they would fail us for certain things earlier that year, they would put these index cards laminated that we had to write on and laminate. And it said, apparently I was not ready. And every time you don't complete something, and the more of those you get, you run the risk of being DNF'd from the Death Race. So this was his first time with TeamBelieve923. And so according to certain things that he was or wasn't doing, I'd slap on one of those. Hey, apparently you weren't ready for TeamBelieve. So yeah, we had a fun time with that. He's a good human, and I'm glad that he's a part of your circle.
Absolutely, man. He's helped me in other parts of my life, and I don't know what I'd do without him for sure. And I don't know what I'd do without TeamBelieve, and I'll gladly help you out with whatever you need in terms of figuring out some adaptions, and we'll go from there. We'll have some more fun again, man.
Yeah, between that and helping us figure out how to get Charlie at Killington, that's pretty much all we need. So you let me know how you could help me with those two things.
I will. He'll be there.
I got to get a little more heads up, a little more training. I can't pull a Katie. It ain't gonna happen.
It's like you said, Nelson. Everybody's got their excuses.
I'm an old man. I need to train.
You got 2 months. Jason had 1 month. You got 2 months. I don't know what's going on here, Charlie.
Oh man! All right, hey, you've been listening to Beyond the Label, a raw, real-life look at living with disabilities.
He's ready to get out of here. He's wrapping it up.
Cut.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. Nelson Diaz, been a pleasure, my friend.
Same here, brother.
See you, and best of luck to everything that's going on, and keep fighting the fight.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. God bless and keep running.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Stay safe.
All right, man. Looks like we got another one in the books. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, not a problem. It's Beyond the Label, sponsored by Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. Until next time, Jason.
All right, we'll see you, Charlie.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right, be safe.
You too, buddy. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Beyond the Label. If you would like to be a guest on an upcoming episode, email contact@adaptivemartialarts.org. Beyond the Label is produced by JD Production and presented by Century Martial Arts, the world leader in martial arts since 1976. CenturyMartialArts.com for everything that is martial arts.